Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this very special edition of W Conversations. For those of you that have been following us so far, we have had some very interesting and exciting topics ranging from will and estate planning. We've spoken about understanding financial markets, capital markets. We've spoken about handling grief and loss. But today's topic is especially special and a very emotional one, and we're honored to have with us in the studio Marie Michelle Hevia Morima. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, that's correct.
Welcome, Marie.
Thank you, Kalumbo.
Now, Marie is a member of Access Bank. She's one of our colleagues, and she is going to tell her story as we explore a topic on support systems and financial empowerment strategies for women raising differently abled children. And as we delve into the conversation, you'll be able to understand why this is a very special and humbling experience. Mary, I'm so grateful for you being here, sharing your story. Not many people would openly come and share their experience for the benefit of others. So thank you for being so selfless and being with us here.
Thank you.
And hoping to learn a lot from you and just understanding your circumstances, and hoping that there's a woman out there who's going to try and see how she handles her situation. I know that every situation is different, but hopefully from your conversation we will see commonalities as we try and inspire other women and connect other women, as well as empower, as we say under the W initiative. So welcome once again. So the topic of exploring support systems and financial empowerment strategies for women raising children who are differently abled is a crucial and timely discussion. According to the World Health Organization, approximately 1 in 10 children worldwide live with a disability, and women are often the primary caregivers of these children. The economic and emotional burdens on caregiving can be significant, and it is essential to examine the support systems and financial empowerment strategies available to women. So with Marie joining us today, sharing her story, we hope to learn from one another and explore the different support systems based on her experience that have helped her cope, as we work towards creating a more inclusive and supportive environment for women in her situation. So Maria, I'm just going to ask you straight away to just share your personal journey about your beautiful daughter that I have seen you share your story about on your status and in engagements. And I must commend you highly for driving April month of autism. Thank you for reaching out and driving that engagement within the bank. I can't say how grateful I am. I'm sure I've said it over and over again, but thank you so much. So please do tell your story with us. Share your story with us.
Thank you, Kalumbo. So I have a daughter. Her name is Naleli, and she's 7. And she was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. So ADHD being attention deficiency and hyperactivity. So our journey has been overwhelming for the most part. And even when we started this journey, I think I struggled a lot with accepting this uniqueness. I won't call it a disability, but a uniqueness, yeah. But right now, I would say I'm embracing this difference in our lives, and we're making progress, I could say, yeah. And I mean, it's been challenging because coming from a time when I was married first, and then going through a divorce and finding out that my child was different, it was not easy to go through that transition and then become a single parent. Working in a bank at the same time. Yes, yeah. So our journey has been full of highs and lows, but I'm learning to celebrate my reality.
And her uniqueness, as you called it.
Yes, and her uniqueness. I mean, she's taught me a lot so far, a lot about myself as well. Yeah.
When you say she's taught you a lot about yourself, what is it about yourself that you you didn't know?
So growing up, I would say I've grown up not really knowing myself as a person. I think I always strive to be someone else. I would look at myself and I would want to be the next woman instead of embracing who I was. So then when I was given a child with a uniqueness, I realized that I need to help her embrace her uniqueness, but then I needed to embrace my own. So it's teaching me to love myself, because I can't raise a strong woman if I'm not strong myself. Yeah. So I needed to start loving myself, start researching who is Michelle. And it's been a journey for me for growth as well. But also I'm learning a lot of patience, because a differently able child needs patience. And I'm also learning to celebrate progress instead of perfection, because in life we always strive to put ourselves on a pedestal or to be perfect in what we do, but then reality checks in, and really perfection is not attainable. It's really just celebrating progress and becoming the best version of yourself.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that you went through a divorce and found out after that she was differently able. Am I correct?
Yes.
Prior to that, had you noticed any symptoms, for lack of a better term, or was it a situation where, because you were not aware of autism, and maybe just for the benefit of some of our listeners and viewers out there, maybe you could also just explain autism in the simplest terms that you could, because I know from interacting with yourself and other ladies that may be in a similar situation, that as you're raising your child, you get to learn a lot about the condition so that you can then manage them better. So maybe you'll be able to explain to us in lay terms, just to understand that. Were you able to, how did the news come to you? Was this professionally diagnosed, or was it like in some instances where family noticed maybe she's not hitting the same milestones as the next child? And how old was she when this was diagnosed?
Okay. So autism, first of all, is neurological developmental disorder, which affects one person in how they interact socially, how they learn, but they also have sensory issues. Either they're overly sensitive or undersensitive to certain stimulus. You could see repetitive behaviors in autistic people. And certain milestones in the development of an average child could be different for an autistic person. Society would say it's delayed, but it's just different for them. Yeah, so when I was going through my separation at the time, my daughter was less than 2 years. And with statistics, normally you'd see symptoms after 2 years, right? But she would just struggle with eating, sleeping, loud noises. But then she also started talking, like very early, but then she regressed. So she stopped talking, but she started singing. So she would sing. She would learn words from a song, but you'd call her, she wouldn't even answer you. So after going through the separation, someone told me, no, I think she's different. She's not talking. Actually, my grandmother even suggested she has a tongue tie, something. I don't know, these tongue ties that you have to cut. Yes. So I said, no, I don't think so, because she's singing.
She's very eloquent as she sings.
Exactly. Yes. So I just thought, okay, I'm going through a depression because my marriage is ending. She probably is going through something of her own to see a shift in the environment. And then one time, a friend of mine invited me for her son's birthday party. So when I went there with Naleli, we got there was loud music, and she was just closing her ears for about 30 minutes or so, and she wasn't interested in what the other kids were doing. They were all seated playing crafts, but she just was by herself, and she just wanted to dance. Actually, she loves music. Yeah. So then after the birthday party, she didn't even interact much during that time. I had to force her to sit while the kids were doing activities. So then my friend pulled me on the side and said, have you heard about autism? Maybe just have you considered having Naleli checked? And I was angry. I didn't show it to her, but when I left, I was really angry. And I went home thinking, God, my marriage is ending. And then I'm hearing something about autism. So I was angry for some time. But then subconsciously, I took it upon myself to start reading about it. I started reading, and then I noticed that, okay, things are making sense. Yeah, things are making sense. So I didn't even have her diagnosed at that point, but I engaged like a special needs teacher just to help me understand how to even relate with her. So this lady from ISO would come, and I'll see her how she's interacting with Naleli, and I'll be learning as well. But then she later got diagnosed at 5 years. Yeah, so we went to UTH. I mean, after struggling at school as well, because every time we have like a parent-teacher meeting, they would complain. She's maybe under the table or she's in the corner. She doesn't interact the whole day. She doesn't even respond to her name. She actually even repeated baby class because, you know, the expectation is you have to answer to your name. Yeah, so when I saw that, I said, okay, I need to be deliberate about this, and the first step is actually get a diagnosis. So that's how we went to UTH, and then over a couple of sessions she was then diagnosed with autism and ADHD.
And at the time this was happening, throughout this process, so I know that one of the challenges that you were going through is likely the separation from her dad, and this leaves you as the primary caregiver. How did you adapt to your new role in terms of support from home? And I know you were working at the time. How did you balance that, the transition? I would imagine there's a lot of consultation happening with doctors or specialists, and then now having to manage her in a specific way. Is she verbal now?
Yes.
She's verbal now.
Yes.
So you're celebrating milestones at a different rate than your typical child.
True.
But at the time, you were newly divorced or separated from your partner. There's no father in her life, and you're the primary caregiver, and there's a job that you have to handle to make the money, and it comes back. Single home, single mom. How did you adapt to that lifestyle? What were your immediate thoughts or immediate needs that helped you put just everything together in terms of how understanding how am I going to proceed from here on with Naleli?
So adapting was difficult. I think in the beginning I wasn't even adapting. I was just in survival mode. Thankfully, I already had a job, and I already felt like, okay, this job is giving me income. So I just put myself in survival mode and working. I actually became a workaholic. And I think part of me was avoiding the situation because after my separation, I moved in with my mom. Yeah, so I think part of me was avoiding the situation because I went through denial for some time. But I became a workaholic, and I would find my daughter sleeping most of the time, but I got a nanny as well who would help me with Naleli. And thankfully, my mom at the time wasn't working. Oh, I don't know if that's thankfully.
You know, sometimes God puts us in situations
Yeah.
for a moment and you don't realize. So maybe at that time, mom wasn't working. And then you think back and say, actually, she wasn't working because I needed her most to help as well.
That's
in her
true.
own way. So
that's true.
You can't feel guilty about saying thankfully at that time, because in that moment you were grateful that she was available to help. That's my thoughts anyway.
No, that's very valid. I never looked at it that way. So yeah, because she wasn't working, she would be there for her while I'm working. But yeah, the adjustment wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being a single mom, being the sole provider for your child. and my family at that time, my mom and my siblings. But I just worked really hard. But like transitioning from a marriage, and a lot of things happened in my marriage. I wasn't in a good space, financially, mentally, but I thank God for my job at that time. So, yeah.
In terms of support system, we mentioned mom, but outside mom, who would you say was your support system? Who kept you going? First of all, you got into work mode. A lot of us do that. Get into workaholic mode. Then you've got mom as a support system. Is there anybody outside that you intentionally sought out to help you transition?
At that time, no.
No.
I felt alone for a long time. And I think that's what caused me to then say, okay, what can I do for another parent who is in my situation? And that's what led me to do some awareness. I created a WhatsApp group just so that I felt like, okay, I'm trying to have a seat at someone else's table. Why not create my own table and have other people sit with me? Because it was so difficult. I mean, even in family, you talk about autism and your relatives are wondering, like, what's that? You're just oversensitive. You're just spoiling your child. How special are you to start? Like what makes you special? So I figured, let me start awareness and draw people to me, and also be a support system for others. Yeah, and it's only later now that I'm getting connected to the community, attending certain things about autism. So I'm getting connected now. But then, no, I was alone.
And how's Naledi doing?
She's doing great. She's talking. Mostly one-sided, but that's better than nothing.
When you say one-sided, what do you mean one-sided?
So she mostly talks to you when she wants something.
What's different? We do that even as adults.
Yeah. It's really just, mommy, I want your phone, or there's no bundles, or I'm hungry. But not so much of a conversation. Like, you know how we are comprehending right now, right? For her, she struggles with that. Yeah. So she won't tell you how her day is. She won't tell you what she did that day. So you really have to read in between the lines with her mood. She won't tell you that she hurt herself, so you have to really pay attention. If you're bathing her and she like moves, and oh, maybe she's hurt. Yeah. So that's where we are. But she calls me mommy now, and I get tired of it now. But before it was non-existent.
Yeah, before you're like, oh, can she call me mommy? Now she started, you're like, oh, Naleli, please stop.
Yeah. It's amazing, but she's grown.
Wow.
She's grown. She's very strong-willed. Many autistic people are strong-willed, fixated on something particular that they love, and she loves her ABCs. So
you mentioned something about she loves music, or she loves to sing.
Yeah. So she loves music. She loves to sing. She loves to dance as well. Anything with a beat or a rhythm.
What gets her.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
In terms of, I know we said we're talking around support systems. We've mentioned family, and and for you specifically, it's been really your mom and your close-knit family, and it's only now that you have ventured into. You said you started a WhatsApp group, creating your own table so that people could sit with you, share experiences. Now, in your experiences, what has been in your interaction with parents facing similar challenges? Is I don't know if you're calling it your therapy group, I don't know what to call it, your group that you're interacting with, is it only parents with autism, or do you have parents with children that are differently abled in different areas as well? Or are you strictly just around an autism focused?
So in the beginning, it was strictly around autism. But after interacting with other parents and attending certain events for differently abled children, I realized that there's a lot of people out there with different conditions. And actually someone stood up once and said, autism is mainly focused on, what about cerebral palsy, for instance? I mean, no one is talking about it. And then I realized that, okay, I mean, I'm also just advocating for autism. I'm not an expert, but I'm just living with someone who is autistic and I'm learning. And I can do the same for any other condition. It's really just about intention, learning this condition. So now I interact with different kinds of different parents who have children with different needs. Yes, I mentioned cerebral palsy. I know someone whose child has that, so I'm making an effort to just learn. So that
and
even
be there for them the way you would have wanted somebody to be there for you.
Yes, yeah, because I mean, she's a lady. When we chat, I also want to offer support or even just a shoulder to cry on, but I also need to be able to put myself in her shoes and not just think around autism.
In terms of caregiving, I know that for most people that are caregivers, you forget about yourself. What are you doing so that you don't let Marie, Michelle disappear? I know you said that you buried yourself in work, and then at some point you said you had to start learning yourself, who is Marie. So as part of that therapy and coping mechanism for yourself, how have you prioritized yourself? Because prioritizing yourself is not selfishness. You need to be in the best of spirits and condition to take care of her best. So what do you do in your free time? How are you coping? And please don't say work. Work is not.
It's not a coping mechanism.
It's not sustainable, because you will overwork yourself and then you will not be there for Naleli. So how outside work, how are you prioritizing yourself that maybe other parents outside your WhatsApp group and your therapy group can also learn from? Is it a hangout with friends? Do you get that time? Is it exercise? Because we need to ensure that you are okay emotionally, mentally, and physically. So what are you doing? And what resources have been most helpful to you?
Okay. So for my physical health, I do work out. We thank God for home videos, because
times have changed.
Yeah,
so
times have changed. And I mean, we're also talking about finances. It's not easy to just maybe go to the gym. Exactly. And then when you look at your work-life balance, you don't really have it. So you probably subscribe and barely go to the gym. But I work out from home. I love skipping, and I'm also lifting weights now.
Okay.
Yeah, very small weights, but it's helping me. And then I also love to dance.
Okay, so you and Naleli
Yes.
can dance together. Then I guess in the house there's some music.
There's music, but also outside from that, I do go for salsa, kizomba, and bachata.
Oh,
so
you
I
should
love
invite
that.
me. I used to do that a lot. I used to teach it.
Really?
Yeah, that's a story for another
Wow.
day.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I'm a student, so that would be nice.
So that keeps your mind off. This is your Marie time.
Yes. When I'm on the dance floor, I'm not thinking about home or work. My aura is just different, and it actually helped me build confidence as well. Yeah. So I enjoy dancing, lifting weights at home. Sometimes, once in a while, I do go for a drink with friends. Yeah. So it's baby steps.
Let's talk about how Naleli is settling in. Have you managed to get her into a school that caters to her needs? And how has that been going? How is this something that you can afford, or is this something that generally amongst the parents that are in similar situations that you're discussing in terms of how do you offer support? Do we have many of these facilities that are looking out for children like Naleli, for example? Have you been able to find that kind of a school, and how easy has it been? What's been your experience?
Okay, so my experience has been, well, for school, she's in a mainstream school. Yes, she started going to school before I knew she was autistic, yeah. But with time, yeah, I mentioned that there were some struggles at school. And every time they call me and there's this issue, I contemplated, should I change her? Should I maybe take her to a strictly special needs school? And I visited quite a number of schools, but I wasn't really happy with
The
what I
facilities were not
saw.
great, or
Yeah,
they were not adequate for what you felt you needed for her.
exactly. You know, sometimes I feel like people with special needs need more attention. You need to realize their strength and then nurture that. But for many times, I mean, even for ourselves as parents, we just put them as special needs and we treat them like, oh, okay, there's nothing else that you can do. So I felt like most of these institutions were almost like a daycare to just keep her for the day. But then in the mainstream school, I've seen also, even if it took time, I still seen how she's developed socially. Okay. Yes, she's learning from people who are not on the spectrum, and then they're also learning from her. So it's almost like her classmates know her weaknesses, and they kind of compliment her. Yeah, but financially, it's been a blessing because my friend owns the school.
Oh, lovely.
And my daughter has been on scholarship.
Oh,
Yes.
that's another way
Yeah,
to support.
exactly.
It's so when you look at support system, so this friend of yours is so remember you mentioned that it was a friend of yours who suggested.
Yes, the
that
same friend.
It's the same friend.
The
I was
same
going to say, God has placed people in your path that are able to then spot something,
Yeah.
guide you, steer you towards a diagnosis, and then that happens. While naturally you would be struggling with where to place her,
That's true.
there's a place that's waiting for her, and she's thriving.
She is.
Granted, not at the same pace as the others, but any progress is progress. And I like what you said. I wrote it down here because right now you're just celebrating progress and not perfection. So that's very insightful.
Yeah.
As we come to a close, I just wanted to hear your views in terms of any message you would like to share with women that may be in a similar situation as you, raising a child who's differently abled. I can imagine the confusion of, in that moment, finding out this is what's happening. How am I going to handle this? Am I strong enough? And look at you. I can imagine what was going on in your mind. Can I do it? Can I? And how many years later, you are actually able to tell your story and somebody is learning from you. If there's a mother out there, or indeed a father out there, what message would you like them to take away from your story and this conversation we've had today?
So firstly, I'd definitely like them to know that they're not alone. We always feel like we're the only person going through a certain situation. So just to give them hope that they're not alone, but also embracing the situation makes it easier. It's okay to go through denial for some time. It's a process of grieving because you're grieving a life that you thought you would have. So it's okay to go through that grieving process, but then accepting what is your reality. And when you accept your reality, you then now start to build around that, and you now get a more fulfilling life from accepting that this is my now. And just to take care of yourself as a caregiver, because our children need us, and when we are depleted, we really give them the worst version of ourselves. So personal care is important, which also includes support, and also just trusting God. I'm a Christian, so just trusting God for that strength, because He allowed the situation to happen, and He is the best person to give you the strength. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you for sharing your
welcome.
story, and we
Thank you
look
for
forward to
having me.
seeing those statuses and stories about Naleli. I'm so proud of you. I'm
Thank
proud of the
you.
woman that you are, the mother that you are. And like you said to the listeners out there or the viewers out there about them not being alone, I also want you to know you're not alone. You have this mouthpiece. I know for sure that you are now really pushing advocacy. See what you did within just Access Bank last month. I didn't even know you were going through that, that you had this huge story behind you in the face of this bravery. Our KYC project manager who just has everything
It's just
under control.
yeah, true.
You know, and I think this just really teaches us to be kinder to people, because we don't know what backgrounds they're coming from and what they're dealing with. But I also want you to know you're not alone. Voices like yours, we're here to support you in any way.
Thank you.
If there's anything that we can do as Kalumbu, as Access Bank, if you need to come and vent in the office, I've had a bad day. It's I think those are some of the conversations around it's okay to not be okay that we need to speak around more.
Yeah.
And really thank you so much for being here and opening up your life and your beautiful Naleli to us to just get to know more. So we're looking out for you.
Thank you.
And anyone out there, if you are inspired, if you're inspired by Marie's story, if you need to connect with her, if you need empowerment through information, I'm sure there's so many organizations that have come up over the last few years in terms of supporting parents with the differently abled children. And for us as Access Bank under the W initiative, we want to just reaffirm our commitment to supporting women beyond finances, beyond financial empowerment. It's also empowerment through information, connecting women with fellow women. You never know, somebody might have a child who's recently been diagnosed with autism. I don't know how they're handling it. Maybe it's a little different from you. Maybe they have a partner. Maybe they don't have a present partner. But at the end of the day, listening to you is probably giving somebody hope. And for me, importantly, is that message of celebrating progress and not perfection. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. If you need any more information about the W initiative, you can email zambiainfo@accessbankplc.com. Please like and share this post, and we'll be seeing you sooner rather than later. Thank you very much.